Hello, John here. I'm in Templebreedy in County Cork. It's down near Crosshaven. We were involved with a survey here with a great community group last year, and they're still here. It's a very unusual site. It's huge. I guess it's the size of 3 football pitches, is it? 2 anyway. And they're after making some amazing discoveries this year that are partly relevant to looking at famine graves. That's 1790s Church of Ireland. We think the preceding medieval church was in here somewhere. The reason for that is that people used to bury south of the church, and all of the 1700s headstones are all in there, so that would potentially have the original church in there somewhere. And very large graveyard, lots and lots of burials, organised in terms of 19th and 20th century burials there, 18th, 19th, 20th century. And then down behind me down here we have a military graveyard that they're looking after as well. And over there where the tree is and down below there, there's 2 little quarries, and at least one of them is known as a famine grave, but I'm not sure. As part of their work here, they're paring off some grass and they're finding little grave mounds. These low grave markers are uninscribed gravestones. They're doing this under the helpful, watchful eye of Cork County Council, and we're providing advice as well. And they've got some amazing discoveries, all very low impact. And they've just got a grant from National Monument Service to do a series of surveys here in terms of looking after the place. And like I say, the reason I'm here now is to have a look down here, somewhere under the sycamore, down in there. I can't see it. Somewhere in here in this hollow is potentially what's called the famine graves. Now I'm not sure, are they or aren't they? They're the military graves there. But then I think what the main discovery that the team have made up here is all these little uninscribed grave markers that could potentially have originated at the time of the famine, or else they're a mixture of maybe mid-19th century graves and maybe even a children's burial ground. You can tell by the length of some of the look at these graves here now. So there's a headstone. That fella's got a round head on him, and then they're after putting body stones on. They're after covering the whole body of the grave, and then there's a footstone as well, that fella there. So headstone, footstone, and then the body of the grave covered with a mound. And I think Marion told me that at least one of them has a name inscribed on it, but we'll look at him some other day. Probably adult graves. These are small enough, maybe a small adult, or they could be a child. Headstone, footstone, I think. Yeah, so we're hoping later in the summer to get a drone survey down, and we'll record the exact location of all these stones, a measured drone survey. Even not that far from now, quite soon. They're doing very low impact. There's no shovels, there's no spades, it's all little hand tools. And they're also using the sheep, so they're actually famous for their sheep. And that's what's in there. So this area here, when we started surveying, was grass up as far as our chest, whereas now what we have is we've all grave markers. I'm actually walking on the graves here now, and those grave markers are there too. There. So it's a very hard graveyard, but it's very, very interesting, and we're hoping to work out having potentially got a whole load of 19th century burials all in here, uninscribed grave markers in particular. Alright, I'm heading up the country now. I'm on my road to Donegal. I'm going from the south coast to the north, and I might call into a few other sites on the way. Over and out.